Pati yung break natin naka-record. Anyway, let's go back. Doon na tayo sa IV anesthetic. So, nagising na tayo, ano? Nagising na tayo sa inhaled anesthetics natin. Are we awake? Ha? Okay, and here's another round of applause. Oh, ito na naman ang isa sa magpapatulog sa atin, IV. Oh. So, this IV anesthetic is actually ito na yung ano ngayon, parang gusto sa anesthesia. More than inhaled anesthetics, more anesthesiologists now prefer the use of IV anesthetic, except yung anesthesia in pedia where inhaled anesthetic pa rin para sa mga pediatric patients. Now, ang IV anesthetics, so, siyempre, ano ang target natin, organ? E di, CNS, di ba? So, ano ang characteristic na dapat meron siya? Lipophilic, okay? So, it should be able to enter the blood-brain barrier. And preferentially, most of these IV anesthetic partition to highly perfused lipophilic tissues. So, yung brain, spinal cord. And their effect is terminated by redistribution. Okay. Doon sa inhaled anesthetic kanina, sabi natin, yung recovery ay or yung emergence ng pasyente from inhaled anesthetic, kailan nga nangyayari? Kapag yung anesthetic agent ay na-exhale mo na itapon mo through the lungs. No? Kasi hindi naman lahat sila na may metabolize. Pero in case of IV anesthetics, walang ganun. Siyempre, hindi natin siya may exhale. So eventually, it has to be metabolized. Pero hindi kailangan ma-metabolize muna siya bago mawala yung effect. Because the main method or the main route for termination of the effect is by redistribution. Yung gamot nasa katawan pa natin pero wala na dun sa target organ, wala na sa brain. So, pumasok lang siya sa brain, tapos dahil highly lipophilic siya, ay di nakalabas din siya kaagad. Ganon. Okay? Now, eto yun. So, let's talk about each of the IV anesthetic. Ganun lang, no? So, ang prinsipyo ng IV anesthetic, parang yung dynamics and kinetics din lang natin noong mga gamot na diniscuss na natin a long time ago, no? Oral and IV medications. So wala tayong masyadong keme dito. Wala masyadong introduction. Okay? Doon sa inhaled anesthetic, kasi gas siya eh. Kaya medyo yung drama natin, medyo mahaba. Individual IV anesthetic na tayo. First is propofol. So, sinong pop star ang associated sa propofol? Oo. Gumagamit siya ng propofol. At iyon din ang naging dahilan ng kanyang kamatayan. Sino nga?
Michael Jackson.
Sino ba? Kilala niyo?
Michael Jackson.
Ay, sige. Lalabas ko na lang sa exam yan. Hanapin ninyo, ha? So, propofol is the most frequently administered drug for induction of anesthesia. It's an alkyl phenol with hypnotic property. It is poorly soluble kasi nga highly lipophilic siya. So, paano natin siya i-administer? It is formulated in an emulsion. Okay? So, the emulsion is comprised of 10% soybean, 2.25% glycerol, and 1.2% lecithin. Take note, yung emulsion, hindi lang propofol ang laman, ha? May mga iba pa siyang components. So, allergy or hypersensitivity to propofol may be due to not only because of the drug, but also because of the other contents of the emulsion, like yung egg yolk, yung lecithin. Okay? Yan. So, the mechanism of action is by potentiating or activating GABA-A receptor. So, sabi natin, highly lipophilic, okay? So, very rapid ang clearance sa brain, okay? Kasi nare-redistribute siya kaagad, no? Ayan. So, ano effect sa CNS? So, it reduces cerebral metabolism, it reduces the intracranial pressure, including intraocular pressure. Okay? Pero, propofol doesn't exert any analgesic effect. Meron lang siya anesthetic, wala kang mararamdaman. Pero eventually, pag nag-emerge, nagising na yung pasyente, hindi mo na mapapromise na wala na siyang mararamdaman kasi wala nga siyang analgesic effect. So, maaaring pag nagising yung pasyente, aaray yan. Oo, di ba? So, kaya kailangan mo pang bigyan ng analgesic. Okay? In terms of the cardiovascular, so it's a vasodilator. So sabi natin, pag vasodilator, it can reduce the blood pressure. And it is also a myocardial depressant. So remember, the the equation for blood pressure, which is cardiac output and total peripheral resistance. So propofol exert effect on the TPR and the cardiac output because it's both a vasodilator and a myocardial depressant. Kaya bagsak talaga yung BP niya. Not to mention that it could inhibit baroreceptor reflex. So talagang pag bumagsak ang BP, walang reflex, hindi makarecover kagad yung pasyente. So that's something that we really have to be careful about when giving propofol. So propofol is an anesthetic, therefore it's a respiratory depressant in as much as it is also a sinus depressant. Ano ang plus factor sa propofol? Wala siyang emetic property. Okay? Hindi siya nakakapagsuka. So, as a matter of fact, it is anti-emetic. Pero meron din tawag na propofol-related infusion syndrome. Okay? And this happens when propofol is given for a long term. Ibig sabihin pangmatagalan. And this can lead to metabolic acidosis and rhabdomyolysis. Now, because of the difficulty in the preparation of propofol, na emulsion siya, lumabas ngayon yung phos-propofol, which is just a prodrug, no? Prodrug o propofol siya. Didagdagan siya ng phos, kaya siya naging prodrug. Parang isipin mo na lang ganun para maalala mo. So, pag na-metabolize siya, di ba sabi natin, anong principle ng prodrug? That the parent drug has to undergo metabolism to release the active metabolite, which is propofol. So sa liver, it is metabolized by alkaline phosphatase to release the propofol, which will now be the one that will cause the anesthetic agent. And that's the reason why phos-propofol is now water-soluble. Hindi na siya prepared in emulsion. Water-soluble ang phos-propofol. Pagdating niya sa liver, mame-metabolize siya, doon pa lang lalabas yung propofol. At dahil doon, dahil medyo mahaba yung proseso na pagdadaanan nitong agent, the onset is quite delayed. And the recovery is also delayed. Okay? Anong common adverse effect? Paresthesia, especially at the perianal region. And it may also compromise the airway. Next, we have barbiturate. Ang barbiturate naman, hindi naman binibigay during the actual anesthesia. Karaniwan, ang barbiturate ay ginagamit as pre-anesthetic. Okay? Kasi sa bilis ng effect nitong mga gamot ito. Very rapid onset and very short duration of action. Dalawa yung ginagamit na barbiturate. Remember, when you discussed the sedative hypnotics, you talked about barbiturate, di ba? Sabi natin, it's just a modulator, di ba? They do not act as agonists at GABA, di ba? Yun ang target niya, yung GABA receptor, di ba? GABA A specifically, di ba? Now, yung thiopental at methohexital, very rapid ang onset, tinatawag nating short-acting barbiturate, di ba? Kasi wala itong mga metabolites. So, ano pang dapat nating tandaan sa barbiturates? They are not for patients with acute intermittent porphyria kasi itong mga gamot na ito, they could actually increase porphyrin because they stimulate aminolevulinic acid synthetase. So, barbiturate is a CNS depressant, it has a dose-dependent CNS. So, as you increase the dose, okay, yung effect sa CNS, pataas ang pataas, kaya yung pinaka-toxic effect is that your patient may go into coma. Wala din siyang analgesic effect. Now, unlike propofol na vasodilator, it is a cerebral vasoconstrictor. And this provide neuroprotection from focal cerebral ischemia sa mga may stroke, surgical retraction. Sabi niyo, ay bakit ischemia nga tapos cerebral vasoconstrictor, bakit yun ang gusto natin? Kasi, pag mas malakas yung daloy ng dugo, biglang tumaas yung daloy ng dugo sa already ischemic part ng brain, pwedeng magkaroon ng toxicity, no? Pwedeng magkaroon ng ganong toxicity. Kaya, yung barbiturate, although it's a vasoconstrictor, it provides a neuroprotection in cases of focal cerebral ischemia. So cardiovascular, it has vasodilatory effect, negative inotropic effect, and also a respiratory depressant. Kaya kailangan, binabantayan mo talaga yung respiration nitong pasyente na to. Okay? Now, intra-arterial injection of barbiturate may result in excruciating pain and intense vasoconstriction. O kaya, wag mo siyang ibibigay ng ganito. Intra-arterial injection, mabilis. Na i-inject mo, wag ganun. No? So, it is usually given in drips. Ayan. So, this is used for induction lang. It has a garlic or onion taste after administration. Then we go to benzodiazepine. Ito yung mas safer alternative to barbiturate. This has replaced barbiturates for a long time. Kasi, di ba, ang benzo, meron tayong short, intermediate, and long-acting. So, yung mga short-acting benzodiazepines na wala siyang na walang metabolite, yun yung ginagamit. Kasi rapid onset, short duration. At yun yung ating midazolam and lorazepam. Sometimes diazepam is given because of its fast onset, pero kasi diazepam can have a long duration of action because it has active metabolites. Kaya mas preferred itong mga to, yung midazolam, loraz. Now, bakit sinasabing safer ang benzodiazepine compared to barbiturate? Kasi 'di ba sinasabi natin na yung dose response curve niya ay hindi kasing steep ng barbiturate, no? That as the dose increases, the effect in the CNS also increases. Ang barbiturate, meron siyang plateau, no? Pag na-reach niya yung therapeutic effect niya, nagkakaroon siya ng plateau. Okay, the reason why it is safer. Not to mention that in case of overdoses, we can still give flumazenil. Okay? So, midazolam produces decrease in systemic blood pressure compared to Diaz. And it has a minimal depressant effect. Yun yung midazolam. But it is painful if it is given IM. Parang ganyan. Okay? Midazolam is the most commonly used oral pre-meds for children. But we have to be careful when giving this to elderly patients because sabi natin, as the patient becomes old, yung mga elderly patients natin, they become very sensitive to the effect of benzodiazepines. Next, we have etomidate. It's an imidazole derivative naman. Yung propofol is alkyl phenol. No? So, these are selective GABA-A agonists. Hindi katulad ng benzo at barbiturate. Pre-meds lang yun ha. Benzo and barb are both pre-medication. So, yung imidazole, it's a GABA-A agonist. And it is used in case of surgery where patients are unstable hemodynamically. Yung mga may trauma, may shock, or severe heart failure. Bakit? Now, because etomidate doesn't exert much effect on BP or heart rate. Okay? So, hindi niya masyadong problema yun. Hindi niya masyadong pinangingialaman yun. Now, pero, etomidate can suppress or inhibit 11-beta hydroxylase enzyme. And therefore, it could lead to decreased cortisol production. Also, it is associated with high incidence of myoclonus upon induction. Or ano ba yung myoclonus? Involuntary muscle twitching. Then you have ketamine. O, yung paborito nyo, ginawa nyo na rin tong film, di ba? So, it's a pencyclidine derivative naman. And it creates a disconnect between the thalamus and the limbic system. So, ang target naman ito ay yung NMDA receptor. At dahil doon, meron siyang analgesic effect kasi nasa NMDA siya. So, it is associated with the triad of dissociative anesthesia, intense analgesia, and amnesia. So it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. It can increase both heart rate and BP. RR, it is a bronchodilator, very good for patients with COPD or those with asthma. Sa CNS, it's a cerebral vasodilator. So therefore, it's not recommended for patients with intracranial pathology. But it can be used in cases of status epilepticus when all the initial drugs or yung first-line drugs are no longer effective. Ketamine is also associated with emergency reaction, yung parang pagkagising ng pasyente, may mga panaginip siya, no? May mga vivid, colorful dreams, pwedeng maganda, pwedeng pangit. Out of body experience, 'di ba? Yun nga yung dahilan kung bakit ginagamit siyang substance of abuse, no? Gusto nilang makapunta sa Alice in Wonderland, maka-experience ng Alice in Wonderland. Yun kung magandang pupuntahan niya. Papaano kung hindi siya napunta doon? Di ba? So, yun. And next, ketamine can cause salivation. Pagka naglaway yung pasyente, yung risk ng aspiration because of secretion is very high. Kaya, together with ketamine, we usually give atropine or glycopyrrolate. Then you have dexmedetomidine. It's an alpha-2 agonist naman. And hypnosis is due to stimulation of alpha-2 in the locus coeruleus. Sabi natin, ano ba yung alpha-2? Diba? If it is located in noradrenergic neuron, it becomes an autoregulatory receptor. And if it is located in other neurons, it is an heteroreceptor. Pero wherever it is located, ang role niya is to reduce neurotransmitter release. Okay? So, it has analgesic effect because of activation of alpha-2, it can actually prevent the propagation of the pain impulse towards the CNS. And it produces physiologic sleep state. Tolerance and dependence may develop with chronic use of dexmedetomidine. Kasi baka pwedeng gamitin di ba? Pag may access ka dyan, IV naman yan, o baka ma-abuse. Okay? So, it can cause unopposed vagal stimulation. So, ano mangyayari? So, ma-activate yung vagus mo, kaya vavagal ang takbo ng puso to the point na magkaroon ka ng heart block or worse, magkaroon ng asystole. Yun ang masama. So, this is used principally for short-term sedation of intubated and ventilated patients. Remember, you are giving this, if you are going to use this in patients who are already intubated, huwag mong taas-taasan, baka yun ay mag-arrest na. Kasi sabi natin, dexmedetomidine can cause asystole. Baka mapadali ang buhay. Kaya dapat mag-iingat. Yun lang, yung mga local anesthetic. So, hindi tayo hindi pala. Yun lang yung IV anesthetic. General anesthetic din yun. Hindi tayo masyadong nakatulog, kaya ituloy na natin, sa local anesthetics. So, ang goal ng local anesthetic is loss of sensation in limited region of the body. So, hindi natin ginagol dito na mawala ng malay yung pasyente. Hypnosis is not the key. Our goal is to lose the sensation in a certain region where we will do the operation or the procedure. So, it may cause muscle paralysis and suppression of somatic and visceral reflexes. So, local anesthetics require certain structural component. Okay? So, dapat ang component ng local anesthetic o yung chemical structure niya should provide sufficient solubility and in both the lipid layer and even in the hydrophilic state. So, they should be hydrophilic at the same time hydrophobic. Or kaya lipid soluble. So, paano yun? Paano nangyari yun? Sige, ito. Ito yung general properties ng local anesthetic. Nakakaloka, di ba? So, ang mga local anesthetics comprise of 3 components. The aromatic ring, which will provide the lipophilic na kailangan natin. Kasi para makapasok siya sa lipid bilayer ng cells. And then, meron siyang tertiary amine. Itong tertiary amine, pwede siyang maging cause para maging hydrophilic naman yung anesthetic once nakapasok na siya sa nerve. Now, itong intermediate linkage, ito yung nagko-connect sa lipophilic at saka sa kanyang hydrophilic component. And the intermediate linkage will determine now kung ano yung classification. Kaya nga yung local anesthetic could be an ester or an amide. So, ang ester there is an ester bond that connects the lipophilic and the hydrophilic structure. While sa amides, yun yung naglilink dun sa dalawa. In terms of metabolism, nagkakaiba rin sila. Ang mga esters, na may metabolize sila mabilis by pseudocholine esterases. So, ibig sabihin, nasa blood pa lang, ay natutunaw na sila. While yung amides, medyo mas matagal because the metabolism the metabolism happens in the liver via the cytochrome P450 enzyme. So, sino-sino ang mga ester? Ito, cocaine, procaine, tetracaine, benzocaine. Ang mga amide, sino-sino sila? Lidocaine, bupivacaine, ropivacaine, mepivacaine. Sabi, paano namin to mamememorize? Parati na lang silang lahat may cane, ganun. Ang mga esters, mga B, ang mga esters, iisa lang yung I. Oo, iisa lang yung I sa kanilang mga pangalan. Oo, nandito sa dulo. Pero ang amide, ay dalawa ang I sa pangalan. Like for example, tingnan mo daw, lidocaine, dalawa ang I niyan. Ang bupivacaine, dalawa din. Di ba? So bilang-bilang, paano ho pagka tatlo? Walang tatlo. Oo, isa o dalawa lang yan. Okay? Yan. So, ang potency ng local anesthetic is related to its lipid solubility, yung ability niya na mag-diffuse through neural sheaths and membrane. And again, the lipid solubility depends now on the aromatic ring and its substitution. Diba? So, ganito ang mechanism of action. Ang mga local anesthetic, they act on voltage-gated sodium channel. Okay? Voltage-gated. Ngayon, yung mga voltage gated, sabi natin, ito yung nagkukos ng umpisa ng nerve impulse, di ba? Di ba? Sabi natin, so, yun mag-uumpisa para magkaroon ng impulse production, di ba? So, magbubukas ang sodium channel, magiging positive ang cell, ma-activate siya, di ba? Ganon. Okay. Pero hindi lahat ng voltage-gated sodium channel ay ma-stimulate nitong mga local anesthetics. Maano rin sila, namimili din sila. Hindi lahat ng voltage gated. Ang gusto ng mga local anesthetics are the activated or inactivated voltage gated sodium channel. Yung tinatawag nating use dependent block. So it's either active or inactive ka. Pero ayaw niya yung mga nasa gitna, yung mga resting, wala yon. Hindi niya yon pinangingialaman. Gusto niya kung ano ka lang, kung active ka or inactive, yon, doon siya. Okay? So, yun na tawag nating use-dependent mechanism. Ayun, si Janine, Michael Jackson. Okay, sinabi na niya, yung propofol, yun ang pumatay kay Michael Jackson. Okay? Tama, correct. Hindi nalalabas sa exam yun. Now, so, ganito ang drama niyan. So, pupunta ka siya sa sodium channel. So, sabi natin, ang sodium channel ay nasa neuronal membrane. Pero bago pa makarating doon, itong ating local anesthetic, kasi ang local anesthetic, pwedeng ibigay via epidural, di ba? O kaya spinal. So, pag in-inject mo yan, papasok mo na sa epineurum. So, para makapasok siya dyan, kailangan yung ating agent ay ang tawag doon, um, wala siyang bigla tuloy nawala. Uncharged. Dapat hindi siya ionized. Okay? So, ito yung ating anesthetic agent. Okay? So, dito sa labas, dito sa may labas, sa epineurum, itong ating, yung fluid dito, will convert our anesthetic agent into unionized form. So pag unionized na siya or uncharged, makakapasok na siya sa epineurum, diretso sa lipid bilayer, pasok sa loob ng neuron. Nasa axoplasm na siya. Once in the axoplasm, itong ating anesthetic agent will bind to hydrogen ion. And this will make it ionize, no? So una, eto siya, no? So sa labas, magiging anionize siya, magdi-dissociate because of the pH dun sa surrounding fluid. So, magdi-dissociate siya, magiging unionized siya, dahil unionized siya, pasok siya sa banga. Pagpasok sa loob, yung ating unionized form will bind with hydrogen, magiging naman na siyang ionized. At dahil doon, hindi siya makakalapas uli. Oo, matatrap siya dito sa loob. Ayan. And therefore, dahil matatrap na siya sa loob, yan, mabablock na niya yung voltage-gated sodium channel. Ayan, yan yung mechanism niya. Alright? So basically, all local anesthetics are weak bases ranging from 7.7 to 9.1. Remember na ang physiologic pH is 7.4. Therefore, since mas mataas sila sa pH ng blood, okay, most molecules are ionized or charged. Lalo na kung inilagay mo yan sa mga infected tissue. Kaya ba hindi ka nga makapag-anesthetize kung yung sugat ay o yung wound ay infected. Like for example, yung mga necrotic tissue, halimbawa mo ay may abscess ka, no? 'Di ba napakasakit ng abscess? Pero pag yun in-incise mo o dinrain mo, hindi ka pwedeng gumamit ng anesthesia, kaya titiisin mo yung sakit. Kasi baliwala kung magbibigay ka ng local anesthetic sa area, gawa ng yung area ng necrosis is very acidic. Kaya yung ating anesthetic agent, mananatili siyang ionized, hindi siya makakapasok. Oo. Kaya never natin na lalagyan ng anesthesia yung mga abscesses na lilinisin mo, walang epekto yung local anesthetic natin doon. Okay? So yung mga infected tissues, hindi tumatalab sa kanila ang mga local anesthetics. Okay? Now, pag tumalab naman yung ating local anesthetic, ano naman yung order ng disappearance ng sensation? So unang mawawala yung pain sensation, followed by temperature, touch, pressure, huli na yung motor o yung large myelinated fibers. Yan ang huling ma-i-inhibit. Okay. Now, ano naman ang systemic toxicity ng mga local anesthetics natin? Sa CNS, it can lead to coma. Okay? So, kasi if the local anesthetic enter the systemic circulation in high doses, halimbawa nagbigay ka ng napakataas, it can even block the sodium channels in the heart and in the brain. So anong effect nun sa brain? Pwedeng una, para lang siyang nabibingi. Pagkatapos pwedeng magkaroon ng perioral numbness, mamaya nag-seizure na, eventually nag-coma na. Sa cardiovascular, iba-block din niya yung sodium channel. So ano mangyayari? Ano sabi natin, para yung mga anti-arrhythmics natin, di ba may sodium channel blocker tayo ng anti-arrhythmics. Ano mangyayari? Babagal yung tibok ng puso to the point na pwede rin magkaroon ng arrhythmia yung pasyente. Or worse, magkaroon ng systole. Hindi na tumibok yung puso. And among the local anesthetics, yung bupivacaine ang pinaka-notorious sa cardiotoxicity. Meron bang paraan para natin sila makarecover? Meron naman. Pwede natin silang bigyan ng intralipid, 20% lipid emulsion. Ito, lipid siya. It acts as a sink for the local anesthetics. Kasi 'di ba meron siyang lipid component. Kaya yung lipid emulsion doon, yun yung para bang mag-a-absorb doon sa anesthetic agent natin. Okay? Yon. Now, ano yung effect ng vasoconstrictor in local anesthetics? So, mostly, epinephrine is added to local anesthetics. Ano purpose? So, epinephrine, it is used because of its alpha-1 effect, no? It's a vasoconstrictor. At dahil doon, ano mangyayari? If it constricts the vessel, it will decrease the systemic absorption of the anesthetic. It will increase the duration of action and will decrease the surgical bleeding. Kaya mas maging maayos, magiging tumatagal yung effect ng anesthesia doon sa location or sa region kung saan siya ibinigay. Ang warning lang is that you do not use this combination local and epinephrine, local anesthetic and epinephrine kung ang procedure ay gagawin sa finger, sa toes, sa nose, or sa penis. Kasi ito yung mga end artery areas. Pwedeng magkaroon ng gangrene or ischemia sa area na. Imagine mo, yung ilong mo. Oo, binigyan ng, ikaw, halimbawa, naging aesthetic surgeon ka, gumamit ka ng napakadaming epinephrine dito sa pag-ayos ng ilong. Nagkaroon ng end artery effect. nangitim yung ilong, yari tayo dyan. Oo. Kung sa penis yun nangyari, naku, yari lalo, di ba, no? O, yun. Now, so let's discuss the the individual local anesthetics. Huwag niyo na akong tutulugan, hindi na to panahon para matulog, be. Hindi na tayo general anesthesia, mga be. Local anesthetic na to. Dapat gising tayong lahat, okay? Yan. So sa esters, we have Procaine. It's the earliest injectable local anesthetic that was used as spinal anesthetic. However, it has high potential for hypersensitivity and it causes nausea. Then we have tetracaine, also for spinal anesthesia, pero high risk for temporary neurologic symptoms. It has a long duration of action, slow onset, okay? And it has a profound motor blockade if given via epidural or peripheral nerve block. Then we have chlorprocaine, okay? So, ang chlorprocaine, sumikat nung araw for obstetric anesthesia, yung epidural anesthesia kapag magle-labor ka, no? It is rapidly hydrolyzed, kaya yung risk na systemic toxicity sa nanay at saka fetal exposure hindi masyado. However, neurologic injury is associated when it is used with intrathecal misplacement. Ibig sabihin, pag ginamit mo siya via intrathecal route, okay, pwedeng mag-cause ng neurologic injury. Okay, so siya yung may pinaka risk for neurotoxicity. Okay, so it is used also as a spinal anesthesia. So, ginagamit din siya sa pediatric and continuous epidural infusion is used in neonates and the very young infants. Now, pumunta na tayo so yun lang yung mga esters. So, pumunta na tayo sa aminoamides. So, yung mga dalawa ang I sa pangalan. First, we have lidocaine. Ito yung standard. It's the most widely used local anesthetic. Ito yung reference standard ng mga local anesthetics. And anong characteristic property niya? Ang pKa niya ay 7.8. So, moderate lipid solubility lang siya. Alright, so, ang onset niya is fast and the duration is short. Okay, or sometimes intermediate. So it is used for infiltration. Ano may infiltration? Yung halimbawa, meron kang isusuture. Infiltrate mo doon mismo sa suture. Yun yun. Oo. Inject mo mismo doon sa suture yan. Then it can be used as a peripheral nerve blocks, epidural, and spinal anesthesia. And remember, lidocaine is also a class 1B antiarrhythmic. So meron siyang antiarrhythmic property. Then you have mepivacaine. Pareho lang siya ng lidocaine, pero mas mahaba yung duration of action with a tendency to cause vasoconstriction. So it's a popular choice for major peripheral blocks. Then you have prilocaine. Okay? It has the highest clearance of the aminoamide anesthetic, kaya less yung systemic toxicity. However, it can be metabolized at ang kanyang metabolite is orthotoluidine that may cause methemoglobinemia. Okay? Pero mababa lang naman yung risk for temporary neurologic symptoms. Then we have bupivacaine. It's a long-acting heavyweight. It's a potent amide, long duration of action, highly lipid-soluble, highly protein-bound, no? Pero ang pKa niya 8.1. Kaya ang duration of action, napakatagal. So, ginagamit siya post-op pain control, labor epidural, okay? It provides a differential block, kaya good sensory relief while sparing the motor function. Kaya, okay, makakalabas pa rin yung si baby. Pero ano ang warning niya? Cardiotoxic siya. So, it ties to cardiac sodium channel. And so, pwedeng magkaroon ng asystole. Now, the arrest. Pag nag-arrest yung pasyente mo dahil sa bupivacaine, naku, napakahirap i-resuscitate. So, we have to be very careful. Then lastly, we have EMLA. EMLA stands for eutectic mixture of local anesthetics. So, in short, ang EMLA is a mixture of anesthetics. Anong anesthetic ang nakalagay doon? Lidocaine and prilocaine. So, parehong amide. Dalawa yung I No? So, yun yung combination. 2.5% lidocaine and 2.5% prilocaine. Ang EMLA is ano yan, topical lang yan. Topical anesthetic. Okay, so sa mga magagandang ospital, nilalagay yan dito sa lalagyan ng IV site, no? Nilalagay muna yan para mawala para mamanhid. Okay, kaya pag insert mo ng IV, hindi masyadong masakit. Pero karaniwan din ginagamit sa derma pag magpapatanggal ka ng wart, di ba? Ito yung ipapahid dito sa mukha mo, tapos mararamdaman mo parang kumakapal yung mukha mo. Dati naman na makapal. Pero pag nilagyan mo ng EMLA, parang lalong kumakapal. O, hindi mo ngayon maramdaman yung pagtanggal ng warts. So yun yung EMLA. And I think that's it. That's the end of my lecture. Any questions, my friends? Tatanong nyo, ma'am, i-upload po ba ang lecture? Yes, i-upload natin ang PowerPoint. Meron po ba ang post-lecture quiz? Yes, meron post-lecture quiz, pero hindi ngayon. Oo, sa Friday, kasabay ng inyong shifting. But don't worry, my post-lecture quiz is only 10 items, very easy to remember. Okay? So, anything else? Meron pa ba? Stop share ko na ito. Wala na kayo dyan. Matagal niyo na akong iniwan. Doc, magpo-post din po ba ng recorded lecture sa Moodle? Ay, teka. Speaking of, yes. Teka nga ha. I-stop ko na muna yung recording. Ayan. So, in-stop ko na yung recording, i-upload natin. Okay. Gusto niyo ba i-upload pa? I-upload pa ba
Para
natin? O yung
mabalikan po.
PowerPoint na lang?
Both na lang po, Doc.
Anech?
Both na lang po, i-upload po.
I-upload.
Yes po, yung PowerPoint at saka yung recorded lecture po.
Ganun?
Yes po, para mabalikan po.
Para matawa kayo, ganon. Yes.
Ma-review po, Doc. Sige po.
Okay. Oo.
Thank you po.
Oo, yan. Sige, wala nang concern? Wala na. Oy, teka nga pala, congratulations. Kayo palang, ang ano niyo ba, anong tawag doon? Yung inyong research ba ay napili sa mag-present?
Yung section B1 po, Doc. Yes po.
B1, Ella. Anong ano nyo? Ano yung topic nyo?
Yung Association of Imposter Syndrome and Academic Self-Efficacy among medical students po.
Association of
Imposter Syndrome and Academic
Imposter Syndrome and
Academic Self-Efficacy po among medical
ano ibig
students.
sabihin nun? Imposter Syndrome. Ano yun?
Yung feeling of not giving enough po sa performance ng students kahit kabaliktaran naman po yung nagre-reflect na performance po sa academics. And then sa academic self-efficacy, sa perceived belief po ng students na kakayanin niya po yung academic requirements po.
Sino advisor niyo?
Si Doc Polly Chuochan po.
Congratulations. Ang ganda
Sige po.
ha. Sa A1. Ang A1 din ba kasama?
Yes po, Doc.
Ano naman yung inyo?
Yung Association po of Socio-Demographic Factors and Mental Resilience po with turnover intention po of faculty members of the School of Medicine po, Doc.
Mental resilience with ano?
And yung
Eh?
socio-demographic factors po with turnover intention po.
Ano ibig sabihin ng turnover intention?
Yung parang desire po ng faculty members po to leave their current employment po, Doc, and look for another job.
Sino advisor nyo? Dr. Reyes ba ito?
Yes po, Doc. Opo.
Kay Dr. Reyes pala. Akala ko, sabi ni Dr. Reyes, hindi daw kayo kasama. Kasama pala kayo.
Yes po, Doc. Opo.
Sinabihan niyo na ba siya?
Na-chat ko pa lang po siya kagabi, Doc.
Siguro kasi na nag-usap kami eh. So, magkikita-kita tayo. Okay? Siya, sige, galingan nating lahat. Sa shifting, galingan, ha? Okay?
Doc,
Yes, dear.
may follow-up
Yes.
po question. Pinapatanong po ng batch, hanggang anong oras daw po yung Pharma Night po? May idea po ba?
Yung Pharma Nights. Depende yun, be, kung anong oras tayo mag-uumpisa. Dapat
Ay, ganun
agahan
po
din
ba?
nyo. Oo. Kasi
Sige po.
nade-delay lang yun, gawa ng hindi lahat nagpupunta agad. Kaya siguro, di ba, 6:00 ang umpisa natin. Kung mag-umpisa
Yes
tayo
po.
ng punto 6:00, siguro 7:30 tapos na tayo Oo.
Okay po. Sige po,
Meron
Doc.
ba sa inyong may klase pa ng 5:00?
Ay, wala
Then,
naman po sa section B po.
oo. Sa section
Wala
B,
naman
wala.
po.
Sa section A,
Ah.
kayo, wala. May klase ba kayo ng alas 5? Section A? Joshua, mayroon pa ba kayong klase ng alas 5 noon? Sa Friday? O online lang?
Hanggang
O
3
as in,
lang po kami, Doc, pag Friday po.
okay. So, aga-agahan natin mga B, ang punta. Para dapat alas 6 in punto, umpisa na tayo agad. Ha? Para
Okay po,
matapos
Doc.
tayo. Kasi mga 1 hour, 1.5 hour lang naman yun eh. Ha?
Sige po, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Okay? O sige. So, yung duration ng ating Pharma Night depends on you. Depends on you. Kasi nandito naman na kami noon. Okay? O siya, we'll see you on Friday. Let's have a good time together. Bye-bye. Have a
Thank
nice
you po, Doc.
day.
Thank you
Ligo
po.
na kayo.